Hi, welcome to Double Strike Recap. Today I'm gonna review a 1974 American action thriller film, The Godfather, Part 2. Spoilers ahead. The film begins in 1901 in the town of Corleone, Sicily at the funeral of young Vito's father, Antonio Andolini, who has been murdered for an insult to the local mafia, Lord Don Ciccio. During the procession, Vito's older brother is murdered because he swore revenge on the Don. Vito's mother goes to Ciccio to beg for mercy, but he refuses to know that 9-year-old Vito will seek revenge later in life. Vito's mother then takes Ciccio hostage at knife point, allowing her son to escape and Ciccio's men kill her. They search the town for the boy, but he is aided in his escape by the townspeople. Vito finds his way by ship to New York City, and at Ellis Island, an immigration agent chooses Vito's hometown of Corleone as his surname, and he is registered as Vito Corleone in 1958. In a scene similar to the opening of the first film, Michael Corleone, the godfather of the Corleone family, deals with various business and family problems during an elaborate party at his Lake Tahoe, Nevada compound to celebrate his son Anthony's first communion. In his office, Michael meets with corrupt Nevada Senator Pat Geary to discuss the price of the gaming licenses for the hotel casinos the family is buying. Geary, who makes his contempt for Michael and other Italian businessmen who are moving into his state to take advantage of gambling opportunities known, promises to make Michael's acquisition of his gaming license a difficult process. Michael ends his conversation with Geary when he refuses to pay the outrageous figure he demands, telling the senator he'll get nothing. Michael also deals with his younger sister Connie, who, although recently divorced from her second husband, is planning to marry a man named Merle Johnson with no obvious means of support, and of whom Michael disapproves. He also talks with Johnny Ola, the right-hand man of Jewish gangster Hyman Roth, who is supporting Michael's move into the gambling industry belatedly. Michael deals with Frank Pentangeli, a business associate who took over Corleone Corporate in Peter Clemens's territory in New York City after his death, and now has problems with the Rosato brothers, who are backed by Roth, Bent and Jelly. Leaves abruptly after telling Michael his father did business with Hyman Roth and that his father respected Hyman Roth, but his father never trusted Hyman Roth. Later that night, Michael barely escapes an assassination attempt when two unseen hitmen spray the bedroom with bullets. The two hitmen are found dead, having been killed by a mole within the compound. Afterward, Michael tells his lawyer and adopted brother Tom Hagen that the hit was made with the help of someone close and that he must leave, entrusting all his power to Tom to protect his family. In 1917 New York City, the adult Vito Corleone works in a grocery store in the Lower East Side with his friend Jinko Abendando. The neighborhood is controlled by a purported member of the Black Hand, Don Fanucci, who extorts protection payments from local businesses. One night, Vito's neighbor, a young Peter Clemenza, asks him to hide a stash of guns for him, and later, to repay the favor, takes him to a fancy apartment where they commit their first crime together, stealing an elegant drug. In 1958 Michael meets with Hyman Roth in Miami, and he tells Roth that he believes Frank Pentangeli was responsible for the assassination attempt and that Pentangeli will pay for it. Traveling to Brooklyn, Michael lets Pentangeli know that Roth was actually behind it and that Michael has the plan to deal with Roth, but he needs Frankie to cooperate with the Rosato brothers to put both off guard. When Pentangeli goes to meet with the Rosato in the local bar, he is told Michael Corleone says hello as he is attacked from behind. Pentangeli is left for dead and his bodyguard Willie Sicchi is struck by a car while shooting at the Rosatos. As they drive away back in Nevada, Tom Hagen is called to a brothel in Carson City run by Michael's older brother Fredo, where Senator Geary is implicated in the death of the prostitute, and Tom offers to take care of the problem in return for friendship between the senator and the Corleone family. Meanwhile, Michael meets Roth in Havana, Cuba, at the time when dictator Fulgencio Batista is soliciting American investment, and communist guerrillas led by Fidel Castro are trying to bring down the government at a birthday party for Roth. Michael mentions that there is a possibility that the rebels might win, making their business dealings in Cuba problematic. Earlier that day, Michael had witnessed a communist rebel kill a Havana policeman by detonating a grenade that also killed the rebel himself. The comment prompts Roth to remark privately that Michael has not yet delivered the $2 million to firm their partnership. Fredo, carrying the promised money, arrives in Havana and meets Michael. Michael mentions Hyman Roth and Johnny Ola to him, but Fredo says he has never met them. Michael confides to his brother that it was Roth who tried to kill him and that he plans to try again. Michael assures Fredo that he has already made his move and that Hyman Roth will never see the new year, instead of turning over the money to Roth. Michael asks him who gave the order to have Frank Pentangeli killed, saying it wasn't him. Roth avoids the question, instead speaking angrily of the murder of his old friend Mo Green, which Michael had orchestrated, as depicted at the end of the first film. Michael has asked Fredo, who knows Havana well, to show Senator Geary and other important American officials and businessmen a good time, during which Fredo pretends to not recognize Joniola soon after at a sex show. Fredo comments loudly that Joniola told him about the place, contradicting what he told Michael twice earlier. He didn't previously know her, author Ola, but Michael now realizes that the traitor is his brother, and dispatches his bodyguard Bisetta to deal with Roth. Johnny Ola is strangled by Bisetta, but Roth, in a delicate state because of his heart condition, is taken to a hospital where Michael's enforcer is shot trying to kill him, at Batista's New Year's Eve party at the stroke of midnight. Michael grasps Fredo tightly by the head and kisses him, telling him that he knows it was him, and that Fredo broke his heart. When rebels attack and Batista announces his resignation, the guests flee. However, Fredo refuses to go with Michael despite Michael's pleas that Fredo is still his brother, and that it's the only way out. In early 1959, Michael returns to his Lake Tahoe compound after fleeing Cuba, where Tom tells him that Roth escaped from Cuba after suffering a stroke and is recovering in Miami, that Michael's bodyguard is dead, and that Fredo is probably hiding in New York. Hagen also informs Michael that Kay had a miscarriage while he was away. Michael is distraught at the news and furiously demands to know the sex of the child, but Tom says he doesn't know. In 1920, Don Fanucci is now aware of the partnership between Vito Clemenza and Salvador Tecchio and wants his share of their profits every week. Clemenza and Tecchio agree to pay, but Vito is reluctant and asks his friends to leave everything in his hands. So Fanucci will accept less, and indeed Vito manages to get Fanucci to take only 1/6 of what he demanded, $100 out of $600. Immediately afterward, during the neighborhood festa, Vito murders Fanucci in the hallway outside his apartment, and then rejoins his wife and children on the stoops outside his apartment building, where Vito tells the infant Michael that his father loves him very much. After Fanucci's death, Vito earns the respect of the neighborhood and begins to intercede in local disputes, operating out of the storefront of his Genkapura Olive Oil Company, named after his friend Genko Abendando, which he manages, as well as giving out favors to others in the community, such as a friend of his wife's threatened with eviction. Vito intimidates her landlord into letting her stay with a reduction in her rent. In 1959, in Washington, D.C., a Senate committee of which Senator Geary is a member is investigating organized crime and the mafia. When Michael appears before the committee, Senator Geary makes a big show of supporting Italian Americans and then excuses himself from the proceedings. During questioning, Michael denies all criminal allegations against him from the murder of Sollazzo and Captain McCluskey back in 1946 in the first film, and to his business status of operating several gambling casinos in Nevada. Michael makes a statement challenging the committee to produce a witness to corroborate the charges against him. The hearing ends with the committee chairman Senator Kane promising a witness who will do exactly that: Frank Pentangeli, who did not die in the attack by the Rosato brothers, and falsely believes that Michael had tried to kill him and has made a deal with the FBI and will testify against Michael. Tom Hagen and Michael discuss the problem, observing that Roth's strategy to destroy Michael is well planned, as Michael will be indicted for perjury after Pentangeli testimony. Michael's brother Fredo has been found and persuaded to return to Nevada, and in a private meeting, he explains to Michael his betrayal, upset about being passed over to head the family in favor of Michael. He wants respect and his due. He helped Roth, thinking there would be something in it for him, but he swears he didn't know they wanted to kill Michael. He also tells Michael that the Senate committee's chief lawyer Kay Stat is Roth's man. Michael then tells Fredo that he is nothing to him now, not a brother, not a friend, nothing, and privately instructs Al Neri that nothing is to happen to Fredo while their mother is still alive. At the hearing in which Frank Pentangeli is to testify, Michael arrives accompanied by Pentangeli's brother Vincenzo, brought from Sicily, and whose presence causes Frank to recant his previous statements about Michael. When Pentangeli is pressed, he claims that he just told the FBI what they wanted to hear, but no witness to testify against Michael. The committee adjourns with Tom acting as Michael's lawyer, loudly demanding an apology. At a hotel room afterward, Kate tries to leave Michael, taking their children with her. Michael at first tries to mollify her but loses his temper and hits her when she reveals to him that a recent miscarriage was an abortion to avoid providing another child into Michael's criminal inheritance. She also tells him that the child was a boy, further infuriating Michael. In 1925, while visiting Sicily for a family vacation for the first time in 20 years, Vito Corleone is introduced to the now elderly Don Sicchio as the man who imports their olive oil to America and wants his blessing. When Sicchio asks Vito who his father was, Vito says, "My father's name is Antonio Andolini and this is for you," cutting the old man's stomach open with a knife, avenging the deaths of his father, mother, and brother. As they make their escape from Sicchio's compound, his man Tomasino was shot in the leg by one of Sicchio's bodyguards. In April 1959, Carmela Corleone, Vito's widow and the mother of his children, die, and the Corleone family is reunited for her funeral. Michael still shuns Fredo, who is miserable but relents when Connie implores him to. Michael and Fredo embrace, but at the same time, Michael signals to Neri that Fredo's protection from harm in effect while their mother lived has now run out. Michael, Tom and Rocco Lampin discuss their final dealings with Hyman Roth, who has been unsuccessfully seeking asylum from various countries and was even refused entry to Israel, as a returned Jew. Michael rejects Tom's advice that the Corleone family's position is secure and that killing Roth and the Rosato brothers for revenge is an unnecessary risk. Later, Tom pays a visit to the imprisoned Frank Pentangeli on a military base and suggests that he take his own life in the manner of unsuccessful ancient Roman conspirators, who in return, were promised that their families would be taken care of after their suicide. Under supervision from Connie, Kay visits her children but cannot bear to leave them and stays too long. When Michael arrives, he coldly closes the door in her face. The movie reaches its climax in a montage of assassinations and death reminiscent of the end of Part 1. As he arrives at an airport to be taken into custody, Hyman Roth is killed by Rocco Lampin disguised as a journalist, who himself is immediately shot dead by Roth's bodyguards. On the military base, Frank Pentangeli is found dead, having followed Hagen's instructions and committed suicide in his bathtub. Fredo is murdered by Al Neri while they are fishing on Lake Tahoe, while Fredo is seeing a Hail Mary to help catch a fish, the penultimate. The scene takes place on December 21, 1941, and the Corleone family is preparing a surprise birthday party for Vito. Vito's eldest child Sonny introduces his friend Carlo Rizzi, Connie's future abusive husband and betrayer of Sonny, to his family. They all talk about the recent attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese, and Michael shocks everybody by announcing that he has just enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. Sonny ridicules Michael's choice, and Tom mentions how Vito has told him he has great expectations for Michael's future. Fredo is the only one who supports Michael's decision. Sal Tessio comes in with the cake for the party, and when Vito arrives, all but Michael leave the room to greet him. The final scene in the film is Michael sitting by himself at Lake Tahoe in silent contemplation.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to get more video like this, turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.